What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This is Matt Farah, and we are, as always, brought to you today by Off the Record. I love Off the Record because they are looking out for me, and they are looking out for you every day when we are on the highway. Together, presumably, we might do one or two things that go slightly outside what's printed on the signs. And when that happens and you get caught, don't plead guilty, because it's not just about paying that fine and moving on. These things follow you. Your insurance, potentially your employment, who knows what else. You don't want points on your record. That's why Off the Record is called what they're called. They send a qualified attorney to fight any moving violation you might get. And as a result, almost all of the time, Off the Record keeps those points from your record. All you have to do is go to offtherecord.com/TST and upload a photo or a scan of the ticket, along with a brief description of what happened and where it happened. Off the Record will then connect you with a qualified attorney who will fight that ticket for you. You don't have to go back and go to court. In fact, you don't have to do anything. And in the best case of scenario, you just get a text or an email a couple months later that say, hey, by the way, that thing that you've forgotten about, it's gone now. Occasionally, it's not quite that good, but usually, in my experience, the resulting text or follow-up email is good news. So go to offtherecord.com/TST to get 10% off all legal services booked through Off the Record. That's offtherecord.com/TST, 10% off from everything at Off the Record. Now, let's get on with today's show. All right, folks, on this episode of the podcast, I experienced some road rage karma. We've got a new Corvette with a very boring name. We review the Ferrari Roma and give some hints as to what my Meyers Manx drives like. And we have some incredibly thoughtful questions from our patrons. It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. Me and Zach are in studio. Let's go.
Right.
So, hi everybody. Podcast, just talking about nothing. Things are happening. Things are going on. I'm about to leave on a 4-day road trip with the roads and the tracks, doing a little route scout. Zach didn't frame his fucking camera right before the show.
How do I frame it from here?
I don't know. Usually you do that before I sit down. And we got big news. The ZR1X. Just
right.
dropped like a fat fucking post burrito deuce right on us. Everyone seemed to know about it, creating
That's
content,
a heart attack grill creation.
Not us. That is some most fucking American shit ever. We can talk about that. We can talk about the Alpine A110, which is basically the opposite of that, and why that is awesome and makes me so fucking angry. But first, a couple of fun little anecdotes for you, Zach. I have some fun ones for you. I witnessed a road rage karma a complete movie, a vignette of life in which a road rage karma was fucking right in front of me. It was unbelievable, and it's such a great thing if you ever get to witness one of these in person. Hannah and I, on Sunday, were driving up the PCH, which is now open, in the Spider. And apparently I was like an hour or two ahead of you, who was about to do the same thing with your wife later in the Alpine. And PCH is open, right, and pretty much fully open, but there's a really strict 35 mile an hour speed limit on it right now in the damage section, which people are adhering to.
Yeah.
People
A lot of them, yeah.
People in LA are pretty much like, okay, we didn't have it, now it's a privilege. We understand you can see it's a fucking wasteland. It's a hazard.
And before, the speed limit there was whatever, and people regularly went 15 to 20 over and crashed and everything. And now people
I wrote
go
a whole
6.
column about that for Road and Track. And so now the speed limit is like 35 and people are doing like 40, which is actually probably the speed they should be doing on that road anyway. But And there's a lot of enforcement. There's heavy CHP on the road. They're all fucking over, particularly on a Sunday, right? Lots of surfers, but there's not much else. So even with the low speed limit, there's not much to stop for anymore. So it does actually move. It takes you almost exactly the same amount of time as it would have before, even though you're not going, I guess, as fast. So anyway, I'm in a group of cars that's doing 40 from, light to light, but there are a few miles between lights. And I can see in the rear view, there's a white, work truck. It's a pickup, a 1500, but with some kind of, scaffolding-y thing on the bed. I can see them doing the just wild impatient maneuver.
Yeah.
And I don't want to judge what's happening in that person's life. Maybe they really were late for work. And speeding in and of itself, in my opinion, is not necessarily a moral crime. But this dude then made a shoulder pass, and I was like, whoa, look at that. And now he's behind us. Now it's between lights, and everyone's doing the 40, but we're spread out a little more. No one's really going anywhere. And he really does a couple aggressive moves to get through the pack. And at the front of the pack is a cyclist. Ooh. And so everyone's using kind of some caution to go around the cyclist, whatever. I don't know if the truck doesn't see the cyclist or doesn't give a fuck, but the final move is a dive bomb that goes on as the guy in the right lane is passing the cyclist.
Sorry, dive bomb, where is Truckman going? He's
going from left lane to right lane.
Okay.
Right as the car in the right lane is slowing and inching over to get by a cyclist.
Got it, okay.
So this guy does the dive bomb across to the right lane just as the cycle pass is happening. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm car number 2. So he had dive bombed. He's in front of me, car one in front, right, and dive bombs across. I realize it's very difficult to tell stories like this on audio. I hope you're following me. But this dude dive bombed on a cyclist in front of me, and I was like, motherfucker, that's crazy. And then once he's through, he's ripping. He's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, that's just, all right, that's just real dangerous and antisocial to what's clearly going on around here. 2 miles up the road, he's pulled over on the side of the road with a fucking CHP, getting himself a ticket. Mm-hmm. And God, did it feel nice to see that. This guy was being a fucking shitbag. Of course, what was he doing? As the CHP was standing next to him, filming the cop. So I can't wait to see his side of the video on social media.
Yeah, that's true. You could testify against him for. It wasn't. You weren't there for that infraction that he got pulled over for.
No,
but as character.
And the cop has to treat that person like a fucking human. I'm not saying the cop should drag the guy out of the car and beat the shit out of him, but it was fucking nice to see fucking a little bit of karma happen there. It was a good feeling.
I saw the opposite of that the other day. I was going to Costco, and I was in there's a lane where you go straight, and there's a lane to the right that turns right.
Wait, what's the opposite of that? Okay, a cop runs over a homeless guy in a wheelchair and then gets elected sheriff before speaking at CPAC, running for senator in Nevada while living in California and getting elected president.
I guess it's not exactly the opposite of that. That was very good.
Example.
It was just someone you saw someone doing something and then immediately getting in trouble for the thing. And I watched someone make an illegal right in front of a police officer that I was sitting next to. And the person just continued on their way. And I was like, what's the situational awareness training that goes on here? Because...
the guy's playing words with friends. What are you going to do?
Probably. It was just, no one cares.
Oh, man. And so the road rage karma was awesome. And so that was fun. And then also, Hannah and I went to Mumford & Sons, which is a very white thing to say. And it was a very white thing to see. Just a sea of whites, but it was at the Hollywood Bowl, which if you're going to see British folk rock, it's a great place to see it. The sound is fantastic at that place. And at one point they did a microphones off thing, and wow, people can sing there without microphones. Like, that's pretty cool. But even within that, I saw something so white that I felt uncomfortable. And it was a guy like 5 seats down from us, and we're like, not that it matters, we're like halfway up, whatever. Right in one of their more like well-known songs.
I'll Wait for You.
I think it might have been I Will Wait, but whatever. They're about to go into a banjo solo, as happens with Mumford & Sons, and one would hope that they do go into many banjo solos. A guy gets up. I mean, we're standing. I think we're probably standing, but the guy, in a move that would be like appropriate at the action would be like at a Motorhead concert. The guy goes, banjo solo! Like with that level of vigor and like devil horns.
I love it.
And I was like, Hannah, did you see it? And she's like, stop. I know that was the whitest thing that could happen on this planet.
No, that's great. That guy, he's a banjo player or enthusiast. He was definitely... Couple beers, couple IPAs
you can
deep.
Picture the guy going, Lemmy is gone!
Yeah.
Screams banjo solo at the Hollywood.
There are deep nerds about everything, my friend. And, rock on with the banjo solo.
Oh, my God. It was the funniest.
He's been waiting for that the whole time.
Bro.
He plays,
Waiting.
I bet.
Yeah. And,
He plucks.
Shout out to their new banjo player. I don't know if you recall what happened to their original.
I have zero idea.
Their original banjo player, right at the peak of COVID, started posting like mad right-wingy shit on Twitter. And they got like a lot of heat and self-ejected, rip-corded from the band.
I mean, look, the Venn diagram between banjo
Didn't
folks.
get kicked out. Ejected himself.
Oh.
And now they have they're now 3 instead of a 4. And actually, I felt a little bad because the stage set that, at the Hollywood Bowl, it was the 3 original members wearing like white linen shirts at the front of the band, and then like, studio guys basically backing them, right? And there was like a studio drummer, this studio banjo person, and some studio horns, and they're all in like all black. And like the banjo's really important to this band. But I felt bad for this guy who was stuck in the back in black.
Not ready yet.
He's not, maybe, but he ripped.
Well, he's ready.
Shout out
but
to him.
Yeah.
He could play a mean motherfucking banjo. I would argue better than ex-banjo player Winston.
Well, when Metallica found their new bassist, the guy from Suicidal Tendencies, in between there, did they just have session bassists that were like, did they tour at all?
No, they did not tour in between Jason Newsted and Rob Trujillo.
Okay.
No. Rob Trujillo fucking rips.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
But yeah, the guy...
You know what's funny is, because I listened to Suicidal Tendencies in high school, and even then in my era of like West Coast punk, I was like, this is aggressive and fast. And then when I watched that like Building the Monster or whatever, where they hire Rob for it, and I was like, oh wow, like he's probably toning down his skills for Metallica. Like Metallica's like this biggest heavy metal band.
There's a clip that goes around Instagram all the time where it is what is supposedly his audition. He plays battery with his fingers.
Yeah,
which is like not a thing that people do.
Yeah, but he did because he grew up. He's so good.
Yeah, Rob rules. They were fucking amazing when I saw them last year. One more funny anecdote. I got an email from a guy. Shout out to Rob, who listens to the show and is an engineer at Apple and works on the Mac Pro. And he loved my story about the life of my trash can Mac and said that there's some people at Apple who are still there, who worked on the trash can Mac, and they heard the story about my ode to the trash can Mac and said, mad respect. It is a workhorse. You're using it properly. They said they got a big laugh when I told them I air gunned out fucking glass out of the fans and it still works. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, they said and he did have a suggestion. He said an old trash can Mac is uniquely set up to run a big video wall. Like he said you could run a 3x2 grid of giant 4K TVs natively out of that as one display.
Whoa.
So he said if you can think of any reason to do that,
Matt,
you could do that.
Let's take a corner of the basement and just make it the simulator corner.
Yeah. The funny thing is it doesn't have a very good video card, but just in terms of like monitor out, he said it's capable of that.
Oh, okay. So it's
I
just,
mean, it has a good video card for 2013,
Right,
but like
it
you
wouldn't
couldn't.
run, yeah.
It probably would like it's probably great for like this, not for playing video games.
not for running it. Okay.
Yeah, but thank you to those guys for designing such a nice product. Okay, so I drove the Ferrari Roma. We never talked about that on the show. We could talk about that. The video's up. The ZR1X is out. We could talk about that. We could talk about the Alpine if you want. What do you think, Zach? Guys, we got to take a quick break from the action because support today is incoming from DeleteMe. I've been talking about DeleteMe for months now, and they have kept their word, because DeleteMe does all the hard work of getting your personal information from data broker websites, which is where most like spam, text, assaults, fake calls, marketing stuff, spam emails, phishing, a lot of that comes from data broker websites, right? And so what DeleteMe does is you tell them what your data is, which I know does sound a little counterintuitive, but they go to work on every data broker website out there, finding and making automatic like deletion requests to take down your information, because these sites do have to do that on request. And so DeleteMe then once a month or so sends you personalized privacy reports showing what they found, where they found it, and what was removed. All right, they did this with me. I gave them my old addresses, my old phone numbers and email addresses, the contact info for like my parents and my family members, places I used to work, things like that. And man, did they send me, the first report was like huge. It was 1,500 things that were deleted. And the next report a month later was like 500. And the two after that have been like 300. So I guess that's the amount that comes up every month. But it's ongoing. It's not a one-time thing. DeleteMe is working for me all the time, monitoring and removing the personal information that I don't want out there. And you can do it too. It's very easy. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. Now, a special discount for our listeners. You can get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/tire and then use promo code TIRE at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/tire and enter code TIRE at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/tire, code TIRE. We are also brought to you today by Car Gurus, and Car Gurus has one basic mission, okay? Making car buying decisions smarter, easier, and more transparent, right? Because buying a car is hard. You never know where to look. You never know what's real and what's fake. You have ads that seem like they're designed to make you second guess yourself. Is this the best price, the right choice? Where is it? With Car Gurus, you don't have to wonder. They have the most inventory of new and used cars, so you can find the best deal. And with unbiased deal ratings, price drop alerts, and in-depth vehicle reviews, you'll make a decision you can feel great about, because a big deal should never feel like a big risk. The way it works is that Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent and hassle-free buying process. They have over 4 million listings, meaning Car Gurus has more listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the US, so you can find the best deal. Car Gurus gives you the control to shop how you want to shop, with the tools, information, and data-driven deal ratings that you need. And it's no wonder that SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. So you can buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus over at cargurus.com. That's right, go to cargurus.com to make sure that your big deal is the best detail. That's cargurus.com, cargurus.com. And now back to the show.
That's a lot of stuff.
Well,
let's do Roma first, because that was
there
a week ago.
Yeah,
and then maybe we'll see if we save Alpine maybe for the next time, because there's also a story I want to talk about. I need to read more about it before. Toyota's being sued by hydrogen people.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Is something worth talking about.
I saw
next
that.
Show.
Yeah. Maybe we have Hydrogen Brian on to talk about it.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. He's got 5 hydrogen Toyotas.
Yeah, and then we need someone from the anti-hydrogen, side for it, like like a Hindenburg family survivor member or something.
Yes. Yeah. And on the other side of that, we've got Sarah Hindenburg. Okay, the Ferrari Roma. We've got this thing. Okay, the Ferrari Roma takes the Miata formula to its conclusion. You have a front mid-engine sports car. It's the last actual way, really. Actually, second to last way, because the GTC4 Lusso does still technically exist, I think.
They still sell it.
Does it still exist? Now, that's a question I should have thought of before this. Does the Lusso still exist in new car form?
Still on Ferrari's website.
It is? Okay, cool. So it's really just this and the Lusso with the 3.9 liter V8 engine, which is a good engine. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. And this car is really interesting because unlike the Aston Vantage, unlike the Mercedes SL, it clearly wasn't designed to really be a convertible from the beginning. They sort of did that later, and I don't know why they didn't do them together. Or if they did, there's like a lot of stuff that went wrong.
I imagine it's the latter because, the product planners, when they're nowadays, like they're designing a Ferrari, it's a GT Ferrari. They know people want a top-down version. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sure the sales numbers for that are pretty good. But I know what you're going to get to in terms of these weird compromises they made. And it's funny. It's like either they didn't plan for it or they said, probably.
Which is, okay, because here's what I mean. And I even wrote on Instagram and I said in the video, it's a great Ferrari. Not in this post, in the other post, whatever. It's a great Ferrari, but it's not a very good car. And what I mean by it being a great Ferrari, I mean it rides, handles, turns in, sounds, goes, stops beautifully. It's so fast. But it actually, looking over the fenders when you're sitting in it's got a lot of like what you get from a Miata. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's that traditional front rear roadster, but with a mostly mid-engine neutral handling balance.
And you're sitting real far back, kind of right near the rear axle.
Yeah, everything is between the two axles. So it rotates really, really nicely around the driver in a way that very few front engine cars will do. And it does it without rear steer. It does it without a lot of super fancy schmancy technology besides good weight distribution and geometries. Now it has mag ride. That's great. Those are good shocks. And the difference between comfort and sport is like right on. It's Ferrari. They'll nail. I'm not concerned with Ferrari shock tuning really ever. But when I say it's a bad car, look at it. It looks like a GT car, right? More or less.
Yeah.
So I need to be able to take this thing away on a weekend somewhere. And the fact that it has rear seats removes a lot of the usability of what could be a nice parcel shelf. And where if you open, I don't have a photo of it handy, but in the video I certainly show it. The trunk is cut in half by where the top has to go. So you really can't fit anything in the trunk either.
And in that shot, it reminds me of the Portofino I drove in Italy and the California before that. I mean, the California had that very tall trunk, and out here they may have just hidden it better, or they've found a way to package it a little better. But basically, you have a shelf. Like if you open the trunk and look in it, it looks like there's a giant CD changer where the top goes, and you can't put anything above there. Yeah. And then you can only put things below it, which, as you showed, was only 2 fist tall. I mean,
like you can't fit one single rolling suitcase, which for some weird super specialized mid-engine cars, like, okay, fine, I need the fitted luggage or I have to make some compromises, but like this is supposed to be the normal one. Mm-hmm. Like, don't tell me that a 296 has like better usability and trunk space than this. If so, why would I buy this? Like, it drives great, but like it's not like roomier in the front. It's not faster than the mid-engine offering, and the convertible mechanism is not as good as the convertible offering. Like, and this was $450,000, so it's not like it's some value proposition versus a mid-engine car. I mean,
I guess real quick, it does start $100,000 cheaper
than a 296.
Or 50 grand cheaper than a 296.
But with options, you can wash out. This car had $170,000 in options on it. Not that everybody's going to get that, but with a Ferrari, 50 grand in difference in base price can be washed out with 1 or 2 options. And then it's hard to see in this photo, but there's 3/4 windows in this car that don't go down all the way.
Yeah.
You can see there's a little bump there. And so with the top down, it looks like the windows aren't all the way down. Like, that is such a crazy oversight to me for a company that only, in theory, makes pretty cars. Like, that's crazy.
Do you think, I was going to say, do you think it's to stop air from going around your neck or something? But
No.
it sticks up. It's so small. It's like an inch and a half. So not that can't affect aerodynamics, but like it does look like a packaging compromise that had to be made.
It looks like
the window can only go so far into that wheel well area, and that's kind of what they have.
And look, old Ferraris all the time. One of the things, very few things I didn't like about my 328 was that the window didn't go all the way down. When I wanted to drive around with my elbow on the window, there was like an inch of glass at the bottom. I was like, well, this sucks. But, it's Ferrari, so whatever. But I did not think in 2025 that would be a thing, that they would make a car where the window doesn't go all the way down, a convertible where the window doesn't go all the way down. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, it's the rear window, but it is very strange looking because it upsets the smooth shape.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Go ahead.
And so, if you're really shopping for a front engine, rear drive, car, the V8 Vantage, or it's not a V8 Vantage, it's just called the Vantage, I'm sorry. The Vantage Roadster is a better convertible, for sure. A Ferrari engine and gearbox is an amazing draw. And with this engine at the front of the car and a long exhaust going at the back of the car, it's a very awesome and unique sound. The gearbox is amazing. The ride and handling is amazing. Like, it is a Ferrari. You're not going to forget you're in a Ferrari. But it's like the Vantage Roadster, the top mechanism is better. That doesn't have that bustle butt. It goes down in 7 seconds. This is 14 seconds. Aston doesn't even attempt a rear seat, which is a much better solution to this problem. It opens up space that can just be used in such better ways. You can fit luggage in the Aston better. I think the ride and handling is 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They both turn in fast, rotate great. They both have great brakes. They both have great ride. The Aston is much, much more usable. The UI is so much better. Ferraris are misery to drive with. They're just, everything is stupid with them. The screen froze up a couple times. It's just, that stinks.
And then all the haptic stuff, of course, is still there.
And to a certain extent, I will put up with some stuff to drive a Ferrari. But what I don't want to do is put up with some stuff to drive the normal Ferrari that can't then do normal stuff.
Yeah, it's the weight of the compromises, pros and cons on the teeter-totter scale.
Yeah.
So, if you want to deal with the haptic stuff, capacitive stuff in a Ferrari, we'll do the 296 because then it looks like a supercar, feels like a supercar, and does a lot of the things this does. It does it just as well. Yeah,
this is a well executed driving experience. It's great. And you're going, of course it is. It's a fucking Ferrari. How bad could it be? I've driven bad ones. They're out there. It's great to drive. And it's great to drive with the top down. And it's actually pretty nice to drive with the top up also. Although I do think the top looks a little weird when it's up. It looks like the back part is sitting on top of the bodywork. It doesn't get tucked under the bodywork the way that some other cars do. But it's really weird to me that this is supposed to be the normal one, and it doesn't do normal Ferrari things very well.
Oh, I see what you mean. Here's a...
See if you can get a photo of it with the top up.
Yeah, there's one... right there.
So right there, is there another one where maybe it's looking from the rear a little more?
Maybe, but I think...
Those Pentastar wheels look cool on this one.
Right here, I see you mean the back of the soft top is almost like a gap, like a half-inch gap between that and the bodywork.
So in that gap is actually the third brake light. So it's weird. It's like it was sort of intentionally designed that way.
Oh, yeah, it's right here.
But the result isn't that good. It just sits on top of it. The Aston, it tucks underneath, and it's a much tighter, cleaner look, I think.
You know, in this picture is from Motor Trend, but the top is black. The third brake light housing is black, and then the car is like this, I don't know, aqua, metallic, color. Whatever. So that's why it makes it look like a weird gap between the two body panels. Maybe if the top was tan.
In the one that I had, it was the paint was this gorgeous metallic matte bronzy green thing. And the top was a dark colored top. So it wasn't exactly the same, but it wasn't a hyper contrast either, and it looks weird.
No, I'm wondering if the top was like a tan or red, would it be better? Because it would be more obvious that it's a brake light housing and not
maybe
the top.
It's not great. It's just that kind of bothers me. So look, I did love driving this thing. It drives awesome. You're gonna have a real nice day on the mountain if you got one of these things. It's fast, and it is a very, very pleasant motoring experience. But man, I'd really like to be able to carry a few more things. It's a kind of thing you want to hop in with your significant other and go away for a weekend in, and it really doesn't. There's so many cars that are less annoying to do that with. So the video's up, and you can see how fast it is in the video and how great it sounds. And there's a whole lot more. But yeah, it's probably not the Ferrari I would want. If I wanted a convertible roadster, the cream of the crop right now is the Vantage Roadster. That thing is fucking titties. Or, less interesting but unquestionably effective would be, a 911 turbo convertible.
And I just looked up the length. The Roma is actually longer by 6 inches than the Vantage. The packaging of the Vantage is just clever.
The back seat wastes all this space.
Yeah.
You get rid of that, it solves so many problems. You can put the roof there. You can put a parcel shelf there. You can get a little more leg room because, believe it or not, I'm like an inch short of
We should
leg
ask
room.
Ferrari how many of their customers actually say they use the back seat for humans versus backpacks.
I think there's some kind of tax or something implications with a four-seat insurance with a four-seat car.
Yeah.
But if you want a four-seat Ferrari, get a Lusso. If they're still making a Lusso, get that.
Sure.
That's the four-seat Ferrari to have. Got a hatchback. You got real rear seats.
Yeah.
Them's the jam. ZR1X?
Zurich.
ZR1X.
Ask your doctor about Zurich.
Ask your doctor. We should make another fake...
we should. That was fun.
Fake medicine commercial. That was good. Just saw it this morning. Corvette GM continues, specifically Chevrolet continues to come up with thoroughly uninspiring names for their stuff. They can't help themselves. The only thing Mopar does well is naming shit. Fun names. They had one going. This was going to be Zora for like how many years? And that would have been nice.
It would have been great.
It
would have attached to something in their history. What every car company does to some degree is attach a new product or thing to history. And sometimes the connection is so thin that you could see through it. But this would have been a good one.
Would have been a good one.
Zora
and they had a bunch of other. They had Blue Devil. They were kicking that around for a while.
Look how much runway they've gotten with the Jake skull thing.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and people think it's cool and tough.
Yeah.
Why not? Zora would have been good.
Yeah. ZR1X stinks. Using X as an all-wheel drive, not the car. The car looks pretty insane.
I'm sure it's good.
I'm just saying, GM, their whole history has been weird nomenclature stuff that doesn't sound cool.
Well, this is very BMW. It's the ZR1X, so it's X drive, all-wheel drive, extreme,
using
whatever.
X for all-wheel drive is tired. It's tired, honestly.
I just say it's BMW's game. So
it's a lot of people's
let
game.
it be their game.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's game. But it is mostly identified as a BMW thing. But having said that, we did expect this car. The E-Ray front axle, it's now been updated a little bit, but it's the E-Ray front axle compared with the ZR1 back half. 1,250 horsepower. They came for the supercars, and I didn't say anything because I didn't have a supercar. And then they came for the hypercars. I didn't say anything because I had a hypercar. And then they came for the hypercars. Dude,
and there was no one to speak for me because
what,
the car
what
was
is Manny
faster than anything else.
Cospin going to do other than say not guilty, Your Honor?
Oh, I just started seeing that.
You see that on Baller Busters?
I've just started following it.
Oh, God. Manny Cospin.
If someone on YouTube is selling you a course and telling you that they're rich from something else, they might not be, because why would they need to sell you the course? The goodness of their heart? No, they just want to make more money. But
yeah.
Be very cautious.
You know, this is going to be a psycho death missile, obviously. The speed at which the car will have exited the road, Your Honor, will be extraordinary.
It looks cool, man. I like this front hood, front thing with like the pass-through for the radiator is rad. I like the little winglets on the back rear fenders.
Yeah.
They look cool.
Yep. I like the top mount intakes there. Those are a good time. No, all of this seems like a very good time. You know what got me really thinking about, though? Z06s are about to get cheap.
Good point.
Yeah.
And they're amazing.
Yeah.
That's a
they are
fantastic
already,
car.
You could already get a very low-mile Z06 for like a hundo. The Z06s, especially because now with ZR1 and this, all these guys fucking...
Speaking of usable drop-top Ferraris, the Z06, which sounds like a Ferrari, feels like a Ferrari, has a bigger trunk and costs nothing.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like one, of course, but...
Does
that's
the
a great
ZR1 go
car.
no trunk? Does it eliminate frunk? It seems like
think
it might eliminate frunk.
It looks like it eliminates front.
But it looks like it has some rear.
Probably.
Yeah, it's got a rear trunk.
Let me see if there's difference.
Yeah, look, I mean, it looks like it's probably the same as ZR1 at the rear.
Yeah, I'd imagine
Yeah,
so. Right
there is some trunk there in ZR1, yeah.
Yeah, but it's got a pass-through radiator in the front, like Ford
Like
GT
GT3 RS and Ford GT, yeah. Dude, it looks awesome. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think the meaner some cars look better, like cleaner.
Sure.
Right? Like, you could argue that like the original like Huracan was a cleaner design, or the original Aventador was a
before
cleaner
they
design.
STO'd it.
Yeah, right. But I actually think the C8 looks better when they start tacking more shit on it. I think it goes the other way.
Because it seems like it was always designed to do that, and it seems like they tamed it down for the first one.
Right.
And but it's so angular and big in some places that when they start widening the fenders and adding wings, it actually balances out that stuff.
Yeah, and like those top mount scoops fill in an otherwise like empty bane of body, you know, and the more and more aggressive like side scoops make it sort of more Lamborghini and McLaren like.
It all in stock form, the Z51 kind of looks like a Mansory like 488, so they might as well just go all the way with it, you know? Like they took a smooth shape and made it real sharky and aggressive.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty stoked. What's not to be stoked about? It's insanely fucking powerful, and it says 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds.
2 seconds,
and
sure.
You know, it's probably 250 miles an hour or
Probably.
something.
Quarter miles in like 9s.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to be able to use that, but all right, here we go.
I mean, that's never been important for selling cars, though.
No, it is not.
It'll be very cool to test how the front wheel drive like balances out. Like, does it do what the NSX did, where it really tames it, gives you perfect steering, all that stuff?
As you can see, we happen to have stopped on this thing here, this graph of the front motor. It's one motor.
Sure.
The NSX was 2 motors.
That is definitely more
and
precise.
There is a huge difference in between the, let's call, magicness of the front end of an NSX or a 918 Spider and the E-Ray. The E-Ray, it's not as good at the front. Like, it's better than not having anything, but it's limited into what it can do in terms of the torque vectoring. And you have to change how you drive to make it effective more so than you do with the NSX.
But is the E-Ray, is there a clutch-activated like ELSD system up there that distributes power? It still won't be as precise as
yes,
2 motors.
There is, but it's not. It can't break. It can't underdrive one and overdrive the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't do it. It has one power output with an actual differential, and then it has brake vectoring. So it doesn't do true.
Right. It gets close, but it's not as good. Like, the reason that the Lucid is so good is because of the motor control, or most electric cars, actually.
Even when I went on the launch for the E-Ray, they were much more about it was very. It was a choice, and it was, I can think, the more probably typically American choice. They were more concerned with getting the power down off the line on a launch, as well as confidence in bad weather driving.
Makes sense.
There was much more of that than it was, we want to create magical steering.
Right.
And so that's a choice. That's fine. And so actually, above a relatively low number, the e-motor is doing almost nothing.
I was just about to ask that question.
It was really, it helps you pull out of hairpins, it helps you get off the line, and it does do a bit of torque filling in the gear changes, but above like regular highway speeds, it's doing almost nothing.
Yeah. So for track work or something, once you're out of that corner.
Yeah. If you're cornering at above 60 or 70 miles an hour, which is like any medium or high speed bend in anything but a hairpin, the e-motor's not really doing anything.
And at that point, it should feel very similar to a ZR1 because those are real drive only, same engine, et cetera, a little different weight. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the E-Ray, when you're, pulling it above a certain speed, I don't want to say it's not doing anything. I think that's not fair. I think it's not doing much handling-wise at higher speeds. Because I think the E-Ray does, if you were to do a 60 to 120 acceleration versus a Stingray, the E-Ray is noticeably quicker. So it is doing something. It's just not doing the magic steering.
Right.
But it is there. This thing is going to be pretty wild. But yeah, at above 70 or 80 miles an hour, it'll probably feel more like a ZR1. Yeah. Which we haven't had to try yet. Gotten to try yet. I said had one to try yet. But like this is Corvette's gonna Corvette. That's what they do. They take the top thing and they basically match it in, performance numbers for, a third or a quarter of the price, right?
Yeah.
So if this is going to be, $270 or $300,000 and it's competing against a Koenigsegg or something, like, all right.
It's competing against things that have 2 commas.
Yeah.
Like that's right. That's it. That's
pretty much
the only competition with this power. And because Corvette is Corvette and they have a racing background, like the dynamics and everything will also be on
maybe
par
they would
with
say
hypercars.
SF90.
Yeah,
there's an argument
true.
that SF90, and that's
for sure.
That's probably
accurate. Yeah.
I bet this will destroy SF90s in any possible racing competition.
What is it? What does the SF90 weigh? I haven't.
Oh, it's heavy. They're like 3,800 pounds. That's a heavy car.
Typically ranges to 39, 37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They is a heavy car.
Wow.
So yeah, that's sort of what's happening in our little world.
All right. Well, we do have a lot of questions from folks. We can save the A10 and
we should save that until because the video's next week, right?
I think it's 2 weeks because you
Is
said
it
it's
2 weeks?
July with
Okay.
the
Maybe we'll
sponsor.
give them a thing, but no, it's June 25th. It's when it has to go up.
All right.
It has to go up June 25th. There was something else in July. No, did I not put that on the calendar? I think I did.
Nope, you did.
I did. You just read it wrong.
Look, man. Yesterday you were like, "Never mind, it's July." Oh, that was a different thing.
No, that
Never
was
mind.
yesterday. That was me. Yeah. I thought I had a shoot this morning, but it was next month.
Happens to me all the time.
It's going to be a fun one, but honestly, I was glad I didn't have to go up there again today. 2 days in a row is a long couple of mornings.
And anyone who is waiting for us to talk about a manual swapped SL, because I did put that in the description, that's next month.
You're going to be waiting until July.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Patrons, we're going to take it to the Patreon. Of course, if you're watching live, it's now open for the Patreon pre-sale for the green Lotus Canyon. By the time this goes up on Thursday, that watch will be available to the public. We have sold approximately half of the sellable units to the patrons. So there's still plenty of green watches to buy. If you are not a patron, don't worry. You'll probably be able to get one if you go on the first day for sure. But very excited to have this one out in the world. It's very beautiful, the forest green Lotus Canyon. There's only going to be one left after this, and that's going to be the Tahitian Black Pearl, and there will only be 50. and 12 of them have been allocated to my friends. They want them. My friends who have seen me wearing the prototype are like, that's the one, I want that one.
Do they get allocations because they bought smaller versions before?
We have 7 or 8 allocations for people who want all 5.
Yeah.
And who have been, if you are buying all 5, you will get all 5. And then the rest of them are my friends who have seen it and have none of them yet, but are like, but if you know me in person, you have certain privileges. Hellcat, of course, sorry. If you want to ask questions for the show, if you want to get the live stream, if you want to get the show before everybody else, even if it's not live, if you want to get exclusive early access to things like the Notice Canyon and other collabs, patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Also an extra podcast every month. Hellcat Brown Eye says, what are your favorite ridiculously named cheapo tires? My favorite is the Hangover Mutter Trucker. I didn't know before this moment, that ridiculously named cheapo tires was a thing. I mean, we've seen some like weird Chinese shit at SEMA.
I reckon that's what they're talking about, and it's always called like the super performance, whatever the hell.
Yeah,
like
I've never remembered one of the tires. You go around and you go, these guys seem to have a surprisingly large amount of money to not hire one native English speaker to come up with their written materials. That's all that I remember from seeing the Chinese tire section at SEMA.
Well, a very, very quick Google. There's names like Triangle Tire Company, seems like a rolling issue. Double Coin, Ling Long Tire, we know about that one, and those are like the big manufacturers. Triangle Tire Company, that's
You
funny.
shouldn't be calling shit Triangle.
Exactly.
And if you have to know why, Google Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. And that will tell you everything you need to know. And is that what you were thinking, or were you thinking you shouldn't call something that's round a triangle?
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking about people burning alive in a factory.
I'm not aware of that story.
Oh, Triangle Shirtwaist Factory
Yeah.
is one of the main incidents that inspired like workplace safety regulations and what led to like OSHA. Because the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory.
Oh, you mean like clamping down on small business? Is that what you mean?
Not letting them earn.
Not letting these mom and pop businesses.
So at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, they were concerned about workers stealing shirts. And so
the shirts are delicious, to be fair.
They're so tasty. And so in order to prevent workers from stealing shirts, they locked all the fire exits.
What?
And you won't believe, Zach, what happened next. Well, there was a fire and everybody died. And so now that's a crime to do that.
I'm aghast.
Yeah.
For people listening, I am literally staring aghast.
Yeah. So when people are like, deregulate, like that's why we have regulations.
I saw
so many fucking people died.
A great response on Reddit was like, every OSHA law is like written in blood.
Written in blood, yeah. I took the OSHA, I am OSHA certified. So many OSHA regulations are literally written in blood.
And yet all of the doorknobs here are covered in razor blades, Matt. Why?
Slow Car Slow wants to put in a request for a carbon fiber or meteorite dial Notice Canyon. You know, we have a lot of requests for alternative dials. We did think about meteorite. Carbon doesn't look right. You can Google photos of watches that have carbon fiber dials. There's a reason that like no good watch company does that. Meteorite dials are really expensive, but if you don't, I actually have a watch with a meteorite dial and it's pretty cool, but if you're not a super space nerd, it doesn't mean much. I think the Black Pearl means more to me, and being I don't know. It's a good suggestion. We're probably not going to do it, but thanks for the enthusiasm. All right. A lot of words incoming, but I think we need them all. True Twerk says, I've been driving a lightly modded E30 for the last 5 years. Weekend drives plus occasional time trials. I'm passing it to my son. Good dad. I've never owned a Porsche or mid-engine car, and I'm looking at Caymans. Number one, I'm used to the cost of keeping an old BMW running. Is the Porsche tax that much worse? Two, how big is the difference in steering feel between the early cars and the E-Pass and the newer ones. I'm more interested in feel than outright speed. So two answers for you. One, the Porsche tax in terms of the cost of parts and stuff is not that much worse than an old BMW. What you're going to find if you're maintaining it yourself is accessing shit with home tools and a home lift or jack stands is going to be very challenging in a Cayman. Mm-hmm. Shit's hard to get to.
Yeah.
They drop the engine for like a lot.
Yeah, because all you really have access to from the top are the ports for like oil and coolant, right? Maybe.
Yeah, and I think you can do plugs and wires and stuff without dropping the engine, but I think you have to take off a lot of stuff.
Probably whatever under tray is there, but that's all right. That's not too bad.
And that's what I've heard. I don't wrench on these, but I don't think the parts are that more expensive. I don't think the consumables are that more expensive, but I think getting the stuff can take a lot of time and energy. Right?
The only story I have is my friend Derek's GT4. The wiring got eaten by mice, and they had to take the engine out to replace all the engine wiring because a lot of the wiring's on the top of the engine.
Yeah.
So I would definitely do True Torque, great name. I would do your homework on what you might need to, what might break using it for autocross and how easy it is to access those things.
Yeah. And with the steering and the hydraulic steering and the E-Pass, I am not a hydraulic steering purist. And I think there's some great systems that are hydraulic and some great systems that are electric, and I don't really give a shit as long as it feels nice. And I don't think that the newer steering in Boxsters and Caymans is worse than the old steering. I think Cayman steering has gotten progressively better regardless of what's running the pump, right?
I've only driven the modern Caymans, and I think their E-Pass is great. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure how it would compare to the old system.
I mean, look, an old Cayman, it steers great, but I wouldn't seek out that steering versus buying the new car. If you're going to go buy one, I would buy the newest, nicest one you can afford. I wouldn't go, I'm going to get an 02 instead of an 09 because the steering was better in 02. I'm making up those years, but whatever.
I would also look at the ratios because E-Pass systems, sometimes they're much quicker than the old hydraulic systems. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's exceptions. But if you're doing autocross, continuing to do that, the quick rack will be so helpful.
Well, he says, I'm more interested in feel than outright speed. But I don't think the feel. I think the feel is great in a newer Cayman. I don't think you should avoid that E-Pass system. There's some that are like bad, but Porsches are not bad. Mini Finny thoughts. What is that? Thoughts on the new Shoreline LM Coupe? What are you?
So real quick, BMW motorcycle inline 6 revs to 10 makes 250 horsepower. And it weighs 1,400 pounds, costs $500,000.
And I'm out.
It looks awesome.
Oh, god damn, look at that. That looks like a Ferrari P3.
Yeah, kind of Alpha Tipo.
Alpha 33 Stradale.
I think it looks better than the Alpha. The Alpha's very bunched up.
God damn.
This looks awesome.
Oh, can we see more photos or more angles of it? This looks, this looks like a Le Mans racer from the 60s. I see some elements of Porsche 908 in there as well. It looks fabulous.
It's stunning.
Wow. Okay. This interior looks like a low back It looks like if you cut the shoulder bits off of Gunther Works' seats. I see a lot of exposed sort of aluminum milled metal. I kind of like where they're going with this. I hope it works in practice. It looks like a tubular frame construction with some sort of carbon back structure, maybe. Well, I can see why they're charging so much. I would love to have a go in one. And that I have been saying for years now that I'd love to see a lightweight sports car with that BMW inline 6 in it.
In this graphic without the body, it looks like a Sierra car. And it's got a motorcycle engine, and then the body goes across it, and it's just a really gorgeous car.
Yeah, good for them. Where are they based? Do we have... that looks good. The engine looks good. Slanted over.
You can hear the engine.
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, I've always thought this engine would be great for a Miata swap or a Lotus swap. Oh, yeah.
That sounds rad.
It sounds like half of an old Formula One V12.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds rad.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes. I'm on board. Where do you work?
Do
Can you go up to the top? Is there about us or what's the contact us? Where the fuck are they?
probably contact.
Where are you? Where are you? We don't know.
Santa Monica,
Monica, California.
That's their copyright. But that's a Cali
Really?
plate, right?
That is a California plate.
They're here somewhere.
Oh,
We'll find them on
okay.
Instagram.
Get at me,
we should
bro.
go visit. Oh, here we go.
Okay, cool.
Or LinkedIn.
Instagram, whatever. Cool. Wow. All right. What do we think about this? Looks promising. Would 10 out of 10 would have a go in Santa Monica. Fucking these guys are in our backyard.
Boop.
Ever seen this shit before?
No.
What are we doing? Do we follow?
I'm guessing they have one, and it's going to get debuted at Monterey, so they probably aren't driving it around much, or they
Right.
are very carefully.
What a coincidence? Because I have something that'll be debuted in Monterey also.
This is look how tiny it is next to human beings.
Yeah.
Wow, it is waist height.
Yeah. Looks
Cool.
awesome.
That's super cool.
Okay, I'm in the game. You know what we forgot to talk about is that you drove the radial Manx.
Oh, we
And
did
I
forget to talk about that.
You want to save it? Or do
yeah,
you want to talk about it?
We should. Well, we're already at an hour, so I think we should save it.
Okay, we'll
and
save
we'll do Alpine and Manx
All right.
next time. It'll be
Too
the ultralight.
ultralight day.
Yeah.
Yeah, radial Manx, very good. I have some. We have some. Yeah, it's very. I have been thinking about that paint, about the
incredible.
paint for that Manx all fucking week, man.
I hope
God
the
damn,
footage-
is it so pretty?
The A7 footage showed it. The
It
texture
did?
underneath,
Yeah.
the gel.
That's
It's
so
really cool.
fucking nice. I can't wait to drive that thing. It's gonna be such a good time. I mean, I'm making Hannah a poncho. I'm getting basically a Pendleton wool blanket, and I'm having like a head hole cut in it, so she just drape it over herself and sit in a little poncho.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, and, when it's chilly and foggy
Yeah.
in Santa Monica or in
In Manx.
Monterey. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Enrico Palazzo, what would be the most likely car for the two of you to plan Z? Company car.
Well, on the one end of the spectrum, it would be drift car. Mm-hmm. The other end would be like, you want a 550 Maranello? We talk about them a lot.
Yeah, I think it would probably be some type of motorsport focused car. I don't think either of us wants to like split.
No.
Like I don't need another car that bad, and I don't think you want another car that isn't like fully yours, right?
Well, I also think that we attend to cars differently, and if we get a race car, we're treating it the same.
Yeah.
But if
right.
we get a really expensive fancy car,
It's different.
I think it's a little different. There's
I think
overlap.
that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Yeah, we are. I mean, we're gonna have a car together for a minute soon because we are doing another car giveaway.
Oh, that's right.
The car is being built. I was emailed this morning. Should we talk about it yet or not until the car's here?
It's going to be. We could hint at it. It's very fast.
It's a 911 Turbo S. So
Yeah.
So we're gonna be giving away a 911 Turbo S that we're gonna have it for a couple months and we're gonna modify it in ways that we like before giving it away and make some content with it. So we will get to play with the 911 Turbo S, like do some things with it. Yeah. So we're gonna have that, and then you're gonna get to win it. So yay. Franz says, what car brand could use a halo car like the Audi R8? Cadillac.
Audi.
True.
But Cadillac, yeah.
I would say Genesis, but I don't think anybody would buy it.
No, they don't have the performance. I mean, Cadillac, Le Mans, and they're doing good things, and they're racing. I mean, like, their halo car kind of is the CT5 because it takes what they were known for back in the day of like big sedan and then adds the performance element.
Yeah.
I don't know if a mid-engine thing it would have to be. They would have to learn how to make true luxury cars, I think, to do a $250,000 plus mid-engine
We'll see if
situation.
anyone. We got to get one of those Celestiques. I got to book that. How do I do that? First, I do it by writing it on my list. Celestique press card with my Lamy Safari fountain pen. That's how we do it. Matt loves Pearl Jam. True, but like
I think
a little more.
I think they're underselling it.
Maybe a little more zhuzh.
You need more O's It might be a character limit, but if you did Matt loves Pearl Jam.
Okay, thank you. Matt Loves Pearl Jam was recently in a Barnes & Noble and saw a magazine called The 25 Greatest Supercars of All Time from earlier this year. The top 10 are as follows. Miura, Ferrari Dino, 911 Turbo, Bugatti Veyron, McLaren P1, BMW M3 Competition, Ford GT, Aston Martin Vantage, BMW M1, Ferrari 296 GTB. That is a random-ass list of cars, and I would really like to know how this person came up with this and why the BMW M3 Competition is the greatest supercar. Who wrote that?
I mean, this is the top 10, and like, why is McLaren P1 there, but McLaren F1's not there?
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Unless they're like, that was the...
Scroll down. Here's a link to the publication.
Yeah, I can pull up the whole thing.
This is some weird
we'd have to read their justification.
This is some advertorial garbage, or I don't know what this is. This can't possibly be something that's. Is this some weird virus you've just clicked us into?
I don't know, maybe PDF.
Oh, this looks like a book. It's a book. Who wrote it? Scroll down.
P1 on the cover.
Name and shame. It's just it's a
Ultimate Showdown.
It's just some fucking bullshit like advertorial like free. Yeah, this is all stupid.
There's not even. Oh, here you go.
Oh, here we go. Never heard of you guys. I don't know who this is. Who are any of these people? Yeah, I don't know who any of these people are. Sorry. But that's all. I don't know. That's stupid. Don't buy that. That's fucking dumb. That doesn't make any sense. I think their list is stupid and their magazine's stupid. Nice Cam says... Nice Cam says, what are your plans with the Meyers Manx? Is it going to be a putter around town car or do crazy shit like take it off-road or on a beach?
Running Le Mans in it.
Yeah, dude, obviously. I'm going to fucking drive it off a fucking cliff into the ocean.
On purpose? Or
Red Bull
when it all falls apart and you give up?
No, Red Bull Flugtag. That's what it's for. We're going to put wings on it. No, it's a car. I want a car to like... I want a car that I don't have to like... drive to the canyons to enjoy. Like you know, my cars, I like to fill little niches, right, with the cars. And so the Porsche, it fucking sucks for like running errands in. It's just like not fun for that. But it's amazing to go to the canyons in. So, okay, it's for that. And like the NSX is like, it's okay to run errands in, but that's not really what I want to spend my time doing in like a super low mile NSX. Like that's for a different thing. And, you know, Hannah's got like her little weird cars, like, but I don't really enjoy driving either of those. And when I saw the Manx, I was like, this is a car that I can like enjoy at like around town, like bullshit speeds more than I would enjoy the other cars. 'Cause it's fun at, you know, and we can talk about it a little bit now, but like it's fun at 50 miles an hour.
Yep.
And it's fun at 10 miles an hour.
It was funnest below 50, I would say. It felt very much like a friendly motorcycle or a slow Caterham or something like that. Very approachable and friendly.
Yeah, I mean, and it looks great. It looks, and they all look really cool, but I think mine in particular looks really amazing. It sounds weird and looks weird and makes people go, what the fuck is that? It's not slow. I mean, at least from 0 to 70 or so. It's 90 horsepower and 115 pound-feet at the tires, and it weighs 1,530 pounds.
Yeah, it's 120 horsepower. It's 10 to 1. Actually, power to weight's very similar to Alpine.
Yeah, and nice tight 4-speed, easy clutch, easy rack and pinion steering, like decent brakes, good shocks. Like it's the kind of thing where like if you're gonna go drive 3 or 4 miles, you know, across LA, it's just that's more fun than a real sports car.
Yeah. It's playful, not in the sense of like you slide it around and the driving is playful. Like it as itself is a playful thing. People look at you and kind of smile. It looks non-threatening. What did I say when we were driving?
You said it was like a Shelby Cobra that was non-threatening.
It's a non-threatening, non-tactical Cobra thing. It pulls out some of the machismo, and people just go, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's just where, it's like the Vespa. Like I say when I'm riding my Vespa, wherever I'm going, I'm like a little bit on vacation. And this is like that. Like whatever you're doing with it, you're going to the grocery store, whatever, going out to dinner, maybe going to the beach, maybe going to the office. Like I'm a little bit on vacation with that.
It's a good way to put it.
That's fucking cool, man. If you can make yourself feel a little bit on vacation when you're driving around in Los Angeles with traffic and lights, it's not fun driving in the city. So I'm trying to make that fun. Hopefully we can. And also like taking it up to Pebble and like ripping it around during car week, like that's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's excellent for everything Pebble, I think, except if you get stuck in a long traffic jam. Occasionally up there.
I don't think it'll be. The car won't overheat or anything.
No. I think it gets loud, and if you're sitting still, it could get hot. But you'll have the top up. So.
Yeah, we have the bimini.
Yeah.
So hopefully we won't get too cooked. But it could get a little toasty in there.
Look, it's the only demerit it has. I mean, there's no locking
demerits.
trunk, and it will be
stupid.
loud sitting in traffic, like sitting still. But it's fucking fun, man. It's cool.
We were talking with Eric Kendricks the other day, and he said something like, yeah, like everyone at the shop said to like, you have to do this thing. And it made me think of when we were down there with the exhaust. And I was like, should I do this louder exhaust? And every single person in the shop looked
I told Sarah that story.
No.
I've never seen 6 men working. They're all actively working. One's doing electrical, one's moving a car. Everyone stopped and turned as if you'd fired a gun in the air. And they all shook their head. No, do not get the louder exhaust. Because the one we were in was plenty loud, dude. I bet you quiet it down after 6 months. I bet you look for an even quieter solution.
It wasn't that loud.
Money.
It wasn't loud enough that it really bothered me. And if I was going to go for a longer drive, I'd probably wear earplugs anyway.
All right.
But
or that.
Yeah. Fuck, man, that car is it's very, very stupid. I mean, it's exceptionally stupid. It's not. There's no rationale whatsoever for spending that kind of money on that kind of car.
But so many good cars are stupid.
It's just way too awesome to not fucking have. And let's go.
I think the dumber the decision, the stronger the emotional reaction usually.
Yeah.
So I think there you go.
Yeah. And plus the process of doing it, I truly think that the actual process of building this car really strongly resembles the process of building a Pagani or a Koenigsegg or something with those people in the room. You basically get treated like that, and then the end result is this car. Like you're accessing that level of bespoke. This
True.
was made for you. That normally you have to be at a very, very high level of car building to get.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Most people are not sitting down with Horatio Pagani to build their car, or maybe they are. I don't know. But if they are, they're spending a fucking ton of money to do it. So anyway, Winona's Bug Brown BMW. Any Primus reference is a good Primus reference. What is the best normal commuter car with low wind noise, ride quality, and miles per gallon that isn't a Tesla or German? The new Prius.
Yeah.
100% the new Prius.
Yep.
There's end of question, not even a discussion. Get the plug-in, don't get the plug-in, whatever works for your lifestyle. But if all I had to do was fucking highway miles to work and back, I'm in a new Prius and I'm looking back. Mm-hmm. Yo, I had lunch with our homie Dave F., who works in the movie industry. Mm-hmm. Remember our old friend?
Yeah.
Had dinner with him the other night with Hannah. He was so proud of this. He got an Acura ZDX.
Whoa.
The new one.
Oh, okay.
The new one.
Yeah,
the electric one.
Yeah.
It's on the GM architecture.
Yeah, I drove it to the Hoosier launch.
Yeah, he got a ZDX, 24-month lease.
For nothing, I bet.
12,000 miles a year, $2,500 down, $279 a month. The sticker on the car was $71K.
$279
a month with $2,500 down. For a brand new ZDX.
That's like
a cell phone.
It really awesome. Is. If you're commuting right now, do your math on how much you spend on gas.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, I never would have bought an electric car, but this deal was amazing, and I realized I would actually be saving a ton of money. He's like, I didn't realize when you get an EV, you can switch your home EV or your home electric plan to an iDrive an EV plan, which I forgot we did a long time ago, and you're on a different meter cycle, and it's cheaper. To charge your EV. And he's like, dude, now that I've been on this for 2 months, he's like, I realize I'm never using more than a third of the battery in a day. And so, like, what was I worried about? And it's cost me nothing.
The car is really good hands-free driving, too. It's a good, comfy thing.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Nice.
Gin and Taconic State Parkway. Love it. After watching the Roma review, it got me thinking about weight distribution. Can you talk about the different driving characteristics or dynamics of a front or mid-engine car versus rear or mid-engine car if they have similar weight distributions? For example, the AMG GTC is 4753 and a Ferrari 488 is 4159. Do those few percentage points make that much of a difference? Yes, they do. And actually, I think they make more of a difference if you go the other way. Meaning, if an AMG GTC is a front mid, so it's 47 front, 53 rear. That's like really good for a front mid car that you want to be a little bit tail happy. Like if a car has a rear weight distribution, a few percentage points like that 4753, car is going to be real nice to slide.
Sure.
It's going to be pretty balanced, but a little rear biased. You're going to be able to rotate it on the entry. So if you have that rear bias, if you stand on the brakes and shift the nose forward, you can get a little more pendulum and an easier rotation on the entry. If you have an opposite of that where it's 53 front, 47 rear, it's going to have the tendency to want to continue straight, which will make it more of a relaxed highway car, but it won't turn in as hard, and you're going to have to work at it harder to get that the rear loose to get some oversteer.
Well, I think the more weight distribution to the front, then the more it plants on the nose and rotates around it to slide. But it's less inclined to turn in because of the weight. That the momentum still wants to go forward.
Yeah.
And if the front wheels don't have to deal with that weight, it will change the direction of that front end much quicker.
Yeah, and also it'll change, like the lower the number is on the front, the lighter your steering will probably be.
Yeah.
It does make a difference, though, in how a front mid and a rear mid car will behave. They will behave differently.
Yeah, my biggest lesson was when I did the Spring Mountain School, like being able to be in the middle of a corner and just hit the gas hard, and you feel it squat to the back, it jams that engine weight into the rear tires and would just shoot forward. Whereas if you did that with the front mid car, like the GTC or something else, you would be at risk of losing the back end because there's just not enough weight on those back tires to do that kind of move.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good question, though. Verso with no door handles. What are the best and worst parts of being a small brick and mortar business owner, and how do you compare that to the best and worst parts of being a content creator? Oh, that's very interesting. What's the key to running multiple businesses and managing an online presence with fan interactions? Be comfortable with panic attacks, I would say. Start there. They're very different, right? But what got me used to running a 7-day-a-week brick-and-mortar business is that the internet is sort of 7 days a week. I mean, it doesn't really stop, right? So even if you're just posting content on a weekday, you're still doing businessy things throughout the weekend, and the day of the week didn't really matter so much ever. So it was it set me up for a business that's open all the time. Brick and mortar is much, much harder in terms of like moving pieces, like just the amount of paperwork and, insurance and the different taxes and the different everything needs this and the buildings need maintaining and, the HR stuff and all that. I think that's harder, maybe because I wasn't trained for it. The content creation stuff, it's hard because it truly is the gig economy. Like whatever you made before, like doesn't really matter so much. It's just like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And that never like stops. Like never. Like when pretty well-known like content creators like take a break for like a long period of time, 6 months or a year, like they're gone, like they vanish. And it used to seem in the earlier days like if you made enough content that you'd have this sort of income stream that would kind of go on forever with your residual stuff. But if you're not putting out new content, YouTube won't like show your residual stuff. And so that the stresses of being a content creator are pretty straightforward. Where's my next bit of content going to come from, and where's my next dollar going to come from? Those are hard questions, but they're pretty simple ones. When you're running a brick and mortar business, even a fairly simple ones, things will happen that you can't like possibly imagine would happen, and at times you don't expect them to happen, and possibly the worst times. And with content creation, like Zach and I don't really like owe anybody anything. Like there's never a case ever where someone's like, we paid you all this money, now deliver. Like we sell ads and we deliver the thing that we're offered, but those are all on an individual level, like very low stakes. And so, but like with this parking business, it's incredibly high stakes. You're dealing with my $2 million in cars. Like that's pretty high stakes compared to it. So, but they complement each other. The content business, it brings in a lot of brick and mortar business. Like those do really, they're good. Like the fact that I have a pretty good team here and I can go off and make content and not be sitting here twiddling my thumbs or parking cars or trying to figure out how to get anybody to hear about who we are. Like that's hugely beneficial. I have an enormous leg up over anyone else doing this in LA because of all of you people. Most of the time, they puzzle together quite nicely. Every once in a while, though, they do not. Islander says, why did offshore cigarette boats become extinct? They're gorgeous. I don't think that's true.
The racing still happens. Pastrana participates in it. I don't know. I think maybe they just aren't the public isn't as excited about them as they were when they first came out in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah, I mean, most offshore powerboat racing is done with catamarans now because they're faster. I mean, it's just like most, you know, a lot of the professional sailing is done on boats that don't look like the boats that we're fucking sailing. They have carbon wings and they fly out of the water. Like, they're just faster, and we're talking about racing. If you're talking about the brand cigarette, because that is a brand of boat, and that's also a casually referred to genre of offshore monohull boating. The brand is still around. They exist.
There are 4 races in 2025. There's one in Michigan City, Chicago, Clearwater, Florida, and Key West. So the organization is alive.
Yeah, for offshore powerboat racing.
Race World Offshore 2025 schedule.
I mean, if you ever get to watch that shit, please do, because it's insane. It's certainly insane if you ever catch it on TV. Streets Closed Pizza Boy lives close to the Lotus factory in Hethel, and they've had another round of layoffs, 6 in 3 years. Why are they struggling this bad despite making objectively good cars, and is there still space for these smaller sports car companies? Well, look, part of it is U.S. tariffs. First off, it took whatever the fuck happened with the 2-liter Amira and the U.S. certification, and they had a year and a half of people who wanted cars, put in deposits, couldn't get their cars, and then moved on to other cars.
Yep.
I mean, we were there in summer of 23.
Yeah.
Fucking, they had thousands of cars sitting out there going nowhere, building them and parking them in a field.
Well, I think they had an EPA issue. Then they had the Panama Canal blocked issue. There were 3 things that happened in that year that basically delayed their cars.
And then COVID.
And it was COVID. Oh, well, that
there's the EPA thing
before that.
Yeah, and COVID, and then the Panama Canal and whatever shipping. And then they have this big pivot to electrification with their SUV and their sedan, but they're coming from China. And guess fucking what? At the same time, the EV market takes a huge dump in the U.S., particularly the luxury EV market. You now have a 100% or whatever tariff, whatever Trump's feeling like today. The tariff is from China, and nobody was going to buy a $150,000 Lotus electric EV, but now certainly no one's going to buy a $300,000 Lotus EV. And so if you can't get the sports cars to the very few people that are excited to buy the sports cars, and you've got all this in resources invested in EVs that you're not going to be able to sell in America, you're in deep shit.
Yep.
That's why they just said they were going to engineer some other car for somebody.
Oh, I didn't see that, but they're very good at that.
There was just some announcement that they're going to engineer something for somebody. I'm blanking on what it was because I have too much information coming into my brain every day. But yeah, I would love to see Lotus take over the production of the Alpine and somehow sell that product in the U.S.
That would be very cool. It would directly compete with the Emira, of course, but it would be cool.
They're already selling some fucking wonky-ass named shit over in China because they forgot to get the trademark for Lotus.
Oh, really?
Remember Neo Lotus?
Oh, yeah. Because
they have all those Neo Lotuses. Angle of the Dangle. What's a car that people think would be great on a racetrack but actually isn't? Great question. And why is the answer not Alpha 4C?
That's the first one that came to mind.
Yeah. McLaren 570S is another one. Fucking sketchy at the back.
Really? I don't know if I ever drove one of those things.
Once they added the wing, big difference.
Oh, you need the wing.
You need the wing.
I mean, Audi TT,
very
of course.
shady from high speed braking was the 570S.
I mean, the C6 Z06, right? I mean, it had this
C6 Z06
overheating issues, and that
first gen Civic Type R also had overheating issues.
True.
Not first gen, excuse me. The whatever FK,
8,
whatever it was, the 2020 joint.
The shredder one.
The shredder one, yeah. There's a. I mean, What have I had? What have we had at P. Cody
Most
that was
Maseratis.
really bad? I mean, no one thinks those are going to be great on the track. Huh. Yeah. I mean, these days, like, most things are, like, pretty decent on a track. Like, I was definitely disappointed with the Supra when I took that on a track. That wasn't so great.
The first one, but then when they revised it with whatever the one we drove, the blue one.
The manual one was better.
Yeah.
I've had the first gen one wasn't great. GTRs. I mean, GTRs set a great lap time, but they just bore me to tears.
The 400, the Z. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the Nismo one was good, but the other one was not for that.
The Rainbow Chic Shroom Guy.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Matt, my 10-year-old son and I were at Good Vibes a couple weeks ago when you had the Roma. Oh, thank you for taking the time to chat with my son. You are welcome. Shout out to him. Oh, my question. Everyone complains about the GT3 Touring having the same suspension as the wing car. Has anyone modified a Touring to be softer? Yes, they have.
So I kept Tim's response because Litchfield Tuners in UK made a video about it. They have like 5 or 6 different software maps.
Yeah.
And they can load the ST suspension tune on any GT3.
Yes, they can,
That's the thing
and
to
you
do.
should just do that. Yeah. Can you scroll down to please?
Yeah.
Tom says, what is the best car that BMW has made since the E39 5 Series, and why is it the Rolls-Royce Phantom? Not wrong. BMW, I don't know if they've made it. They supply the engine and the UI and electronics for that car, but they don't make that. That car's built in England.
I mean, the best one since
the E39 5 Series.
it's a long time ago.
It is, but
I mean, it depends on.
But talk to me about the bangers since then.
F80 M3, I think.
Okay.
I think that's the best one if I had to choose. And actually, I would add that Vinny's 328 diesel, before diesel went out of vogue, like that's a very
touring,
very good
touring
solid
diesel.
car. Someone else in the comments said they've put 60,000 miles on theirs. Depends on what you want from a car. M2 was really good. That's a good car. I mean, that's good for us. Like, we like performance driving. So my brain's going to what's their best performance car since
there's
39.
The M2, the last M2, I think this M2 CS possibly could have been there, particularly with the manual gearbox. Technically, they kept making the Z8 after. I mean, the first X1 that you could get with the N55.
That was a nutty
That was
car.
a little sleeper. Remember that kid was running like 10-second quarter miles in that fucking thing?
Yeah.
That was pretty nasty. The 1M, I mean, just the original 1M, I think, counts. Yeah. They're nothing in the last 10 years, my friend. Gravel Trap Hero says, I'm an assistant school superintendent in a conservative district. I want a new car to me, $50K, fun manual transmission, can't be German or too loud and flashy. 20 miles each way, twisty country roads commute. Any suggestions?
Integra Type S.
Oh, yeah, that would be fabulous.
Done.
Get it in a dark color.
Yep.
No one will really look at it.
No one will.
Debadge if you're that concerned.
Sure. Good seats, good stereo.
Also, a GR Corolla in a dark color.
Yeah.
You know, it won't immediately draw attention. You're an enthusiast, but it's a Corolla, you know. That'll do it. Can't be German or
Get a reading rainbow livery, though. Like a whole car. Do that.
Can't be German or too loud or flashy.
He says a stock NA Miata is considered an exotic sports car there.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're gonna have to figure out that if you're gonna have a nicer car, someone eventually will ask about your car.
Sure.
But, and if you want an American fun car for this type of budget, it's going to be somewhat flashy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Mustang or a Camaro or a Corvette, right? What other choices do you have?
Chevy SS, but in this area, people will know what that is. They'll know that's cool and flashy.
That's not what you want for a twisty country road commute.
Chevy SS, the fun one.
Oh, the sedan.
Yeah.
I was thinking a different one. Sorry. Shit. Well,
Can't do a
how
Cadillac.
How about a used but in great condition with low mileage Focus RS, not in blue?
Yeah,
I think you could
good.
drive a black or white Focus RS and no one's
White
looking at it.
for sure.
No one's looking at it.
Yeah, white.
That would
white
be
because it's a fleet color.
That would be a great one. 20 miles, twisty country roads.
Make sure you like the seats.
American car, assembled in Germany. No one has to know that. Mm-hmm. And they're a good time if you've got good roads. They're a lot of fun.
Oh, it's too bad you can't get them. If you could get a Mach 1 and no one would get mad at you, but they'd be like, all the money going to our school. Look at the da-da-da.
How about a Mach E rally?
That, well, I mean, EV might not be the way to go.
I'll tell you what,
car,
if you can charge your car at home, that you're a perfect commuter for an EV. You could buy a good handling EV and just mob on that drive each way and have plenty of juice. Charge at home every night.
I mean, I hate to say this, but if this person wants to keep being voted in as superintendent in a conservative
Tesla
district,
Model 3
an
Performance.
EV is not the way to go. Yeah,
You
unless
want
it's
the Tesla Model 3 Performance with a fucking Punisher logo on the back.
But do they like Tesla now or do they not because of the breakup? I don't know. I'm not sure. Is Tesla still cool?
Okay. All right. Tim A says, new versus used question. A well-equipped M5 will run about $140K. For that price, you can create a used 3-car garage with an EV, a sports sedan, and a dedicated sports car. Would you rather have a new M5 over the 3 you would choose?
No, I'd rather have the 3.
In order to do this question, though, you have to accept the fact that it takes more effort, possibly more money, and more energy to deal with 3 cars, not to mention you need somewhere to keep them, than 1 car.
Sure.
For a lot of people, only having all of these things in 1 car is good.
Yeah, I can't have 3 cars. I don't have the parking space for it at my apartment. But I'm assuming this person, if they're asking, let's just assume that they have a 2-car garage and a driveway.
Yeah.
Or they live in a neighborhood where parking's easy. 3 cars all day.
Sure. I do. That's what I have and what I do.
Yeah.
I would not get a very fast hybrid luxury sedan.
Yes.
I would have a nice but not fancy EV commuter. I would have some kind of SUV with 4-wheel drive for the and a bunch of cargo space for when I needed that, and then I would have a dedicated sports car.
Yep.
And that covers all possible bases.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen the new M5s out and about. I want to drive one as a journalist, but as a person who buys cars, could not be less interested in that particular thing. What do I think about single brand or single color car collections? Don't like it. Don't want it.
But if you had to, gun to your head, you have to do single car, single brand, or single color.
I mean, obviously you do single color versus single brand because
More
one
variety.
is much more restricting than the other. But I don't like when people do single color. I'll give an exception. Shout out to him, my friend Todd Blue. If your name is blue, you get a pass. If your name is a color...
I disagree.
If your name is a color...
No offense, Todd.
And you get a pass,
No.
especially if you are of the wealth level to where they will make up new versions of blue for you, which they do.
I still think that that's even worse because they're like, oh, your name is blue and all your cars are blue. Sure. It's too on the nose.
Okay.
I go the other way.
I'll give my friend Todd Blue a pass because he is a man of taste.
Okay. I don't doubt it.
Not everybody has to. That's okay. But I don't like restricting a car collection. Imagine fucking pigeonholing yourself like that. Ugh. No.
I agree.
No. Buy the good shit. My collection here's the theme of my collection. Buy the good shit. Good theme. We should put that on a shirt. Pugs and Porsches 997.2S versus 991.1S for a daily. Same price, mileage, and condition. 997.
Yeah, it's the right size.
Yeah. Okay. Christian says, I read your Road and Track article on the screens, and I agree with you. My question is, luxury electric cars are all screen. Non-luxury cars are all screen as well. The driving experience of a BMW i4 versus an Ioniq 6, for example, will be similar. Will the only difference be exterior design? The gap feels closer than it's ever been. I have been saying something like this, you're right, I think EV drastically benefits the bottom more than it benefits the top or the mid-range. Certainly the mid-range. I mean, if you've been a company that's known for building good engines, like Porsche or Bentley or BMW, and now everything is EV, boy, are you in deep shit. Sure. Because legitimately, a car that never would have been considered a real competitor 5 years ago is now a real competitor. And will feel largely the same to drive. I mean, we did Performance EV of the Year, and the BMW offering did not crack the top 4 in terms of performance or dynamics or anything. And to drive it on the street, it was nicely appointed, but it wasn't mind-blowing. Like, BMW's not winning the interior game right now. They're not winning the styling game right now. Whereas the Korean companies are producing increasing quality products that will, when you level out the powertrain by doing EV, will absolutely compete with BMW. Like, we bought a used Porsche, but like that mid to high end EV, like I wouldn't spend money on that ever. Because like the mid-level shit is so refined and nice, it's only incrementally better until you get to like the top.
Yeah.
But you have ride quality, things like that, UI, usability, things you do every day. That's going to differentiate. But yeah, man, when it's all just software and electric motors, like why are you buying a fancy German car? Like what's that getting you? Like not much. We talked about that. Oh, Tim McLaren says, what is the sweet spot for the C8? Couple
Probably
ways to
Z06.
go there. The Z06 without the Z07 package is a super, super fast car that feels super, super exotic and could be used as an everyday car.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Takes all the good things of the Z51 but makes the engine special. And there you go.
Holy shit, look at this. Blurple says, I got my car back from the shop after being parked for 492 days. 350 miles into the engine break-in, it threw a code for a thermostat being stuck open. What's the lamest reason you've ever had to return a car to the shop for warranty work? 492 days. That's a lemon law claim to me. I'm not making it past 2 or 3 months without getting a car
for
back.
sure. I mean, they must have rebuilt the engine. They didn't even get a new engine.
That's
they rebuilt it.
Nuts. The lamest reason, I mean, I have a friend who lemon lawed a Rivian because they were unable to align the rear wheels.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Brad's truck.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was eating through tires, right?
Yeah, it was eating through the right tire, and he had a blowout, actually, in one. And they said, the rear alignment was out because it's a rear steer vehicle, and they were unable to fix it and lemon lawed the car. Yeah.
So something structurally was like manufactured incorrectly.
I mean, my Focus RS, to go back to it, had to go back because it had a Lincoln head gasket in it.
Oh, that's right.
And the Lincoln MKC head gasket in mine. Yeah, that's pretty lame. Roth V says, is a used F-Type V6 still one of the best luxury sports cars you can get for under $50K? I have to say, yes, it is. Ain't nothing wrong with a V6S F-Type. That's a fine, especially you find one with a manual.
Yeah. Looks expensive. Looks
That's
good.
great.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Versatile. Good for a variety of types of driving. I don't know if they've done a CarPlay update yet. If you can get CarPlay in the UI, when you can do that, that'll be a game changer because it's got some OG fucking UI. They have a CarPlay module now.
Yeah.
Great. There you go. Cat Trick Swayze, pretty good. Pretty good. What took the all-time biggest shit from one generation to the next? Porsche 993 to 996, C2 to C3 Corvette, Mazda RX-7 to RX-8 top their list.
Oh.
That's, okay, the biggest shit from RX-7 to RX-8 is a pretty good one.
It's pretty good, but the handling of the RX-8 was great. The engine was bad. The C3... Once you got into like the meaty years where you had oil crisis, then it was a big shit.
I would say if
But
we're talking Corvettes, it's just early C3 to late C3 is the biggest. Is really the biggest shit.
That's where the changes really happen.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Mustang, the 71 Mustang to the 73 Mustang.
The Mustang 2
is a big fucking yikes.
The Mustang
that's
2 is
that's
bad.
No good. Yeah.
Bronco to Bronco 2. We got all tiny.
Yeah. Those are pretty bad. Okay.
There's the little...
The Mercury Cougar from the 60s to the 80s got really sad.
Lincolns from 70s to 80s. I mean...
The Thunderbird from first to second generation. All Lincolns from the 80s into the 90s.
Yeah, they got terrible.
Yeah. Good question. Vin's Diesel. I've had my 335D for 5 years and 60K miles. All right. What other... Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, he's done all these adventures in his car. What adventures would you have someone do with their car? You could put a rooftop tent on it and camp out of it. You could drive it to, like, Alaska. You could do, like, Dalton Highway.
That.
Okay.
I was going to say you could do a rally thing with it, but that's really risky. So maybe that's a bad idea. Go to Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak is fun.
Put the rooftop tent on it, and then go attend Pikes Peak hill climb and sleep on top of your car. And then drive to the top of it before or after the event. I would
like
do that.
this. You could, how about go on vacation with your car, meaning like ship it to another country.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I would say ship it somewhere that you've always wanted to drive and then go there and drive it.
Yeah.
Like Europe, like you want to go to the Swiss Alps, something like that. Like that's what I would probably
Oh, you could drive it back to the BMW factory.
go. Here you go. I brought this for you.
I'm in here for a service appointment. Only 4 questions left.
Okay, we'll
can
get
do all
through
of
them. Felicity Ace. Oh, there you go. Can you explain the different trim levels with 911? And it seems that only certain options can be had with certain trims, and it's confusing for people not. Well, I don't know how deep I'm supposed to get into this.
Right, this is a deep hole.
Yeah, like, okay. So you have your base 911. That's base. It's 3-liter twin turbo, PDK only, non-limited slip differential, non-PASM, right? Then you have the T, which is the base engine but unlocks a whole bunch of options, including manual gearbox, limited diff, sport suspension, better wheels, rear steer, better brakes, because I don't think you even can get like ceramics on a base car, and other performance bucket seats, things like that. So that's the base motor with enthusiast options. Then you can get the S. The S is the next most powerful motor, and it is, I don't know, it's a lot more. It's like 75 or 80 more horsepower. You get the diff, and you can get all those other options from the T, but no manual gearbox. And you can get the S in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive and in coupe or convertible. Then you have the GTS, which is the new hybrid. And that's even more powerful. It has a special engine with hybrid turbo and all this other funky stuff. And you can get that in all coupe convertible, all automatic, or Targa, which is the retractable one. Then you have the Turbo and Turbo S. They're basically the same, but the S is more. It's just more handling, more brakes, lighter wheels, better aero, more advanced things, which is like just insane. And then you have the GT family, which is the track-focused motorsport stuff, naturally aspirated, stick or PDK, all the other performance goodies, and like extremely customizable.
Pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
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 And then you have the GT3 RS, which is the big wings, and then you have the ST, which is the GT3 RS engine, but manual gearbox.
Wings
and
or no
all
wings,
the
basically.
lightweight things. Yeah. And there's a lot of other sub options like magnesium wheels you can only get on certain cars, and certain bits you can only get on certain cars. But
and then the minutiae, I'm sure there's like interior choices. Oh, these seats are only on this thing, but that's what you have to get the S, and that's for the configurator.
Yeah. But if you're trying to configure a car, make sure that once you do your build, you actually call at someone at a dealer and you go through and you make sure you know what each of those options really means. Because it's like you might think something means something, but it really doesn't mean that. Like I learned with my climate control.
Oh,
Good question says, for a 1 to 2 week car theme trip, would you prefer driving from Washington to Monterey plus car week, or a week-long Scotland driving trip in a Morgan plus 4? They'll cost probably the same. Debating both for my 40th, haven't been to car week or Scotland, currently leaning in the latter. I would rather drive around Scotland in a Morgan than drive from Washington to car week and then do car week.
Now, I have not been to Scotland. You have. Are there, because he said car themed. So it seems like the car theme part of the Scotland trip is just the driving of the Morgan.
Well, that'll be plenty.
Right, whereas the West Coast car trip, it's like you're going to a car event.
Thing.
So I think that's the question is, do you want to experience it? Like for me, when I drove the Morgan, we had that plus 4 here a couple years ago, COVID, 2020. Super fun to drive, but the handling characteristics in the canyons were fucking weird.
Yeah.
It was not a fun thing. Like, it didn't, you know.
This would be the new one.
Okay, so hopefully they fixed
some of the...
The new one
has been re-engineered.
Dynamics.
But, or probably would be the new one. I don't know. I mean, I think like, Car Week will be there. And so, if you have the chance to do an international trip in a cool car, I think that's a more unique experience, and you can use that as a backdrop for doing other stuff like whiskey tastings or, you know, whatever it is you also want to be doing in Scotland.
Sure.
It's not directly car related.
You also, while you're on your Scotland trip, you can look at Instagram and see Monterey Car Week, where you won't. The inverse is not true.
Yeah. Car Week's really fun. It is really fun. If you get tickets to the things you want to go to, and you get a fun car, you bring it down. It is fun. But I think having been to Car Week, I'd probably rather drive around Scotland to Morgan. That would be a particularly well paired up thing. Make sure you go to the Fife Arms if you're going to Scotland. It is the hotel of hotels. It's the fucking best. Donald Dump says, wait, what the fuck?
This is like I'll highlight the question.
Oh.
It's like a joke setup, but then the question is basically, if the president heard our podcast and got mad at us and then just decreed that all speed limits everywhere, all cars are limited to 80 miles per hour for across the country, to punish us specifically, then how would we still have fun below 80 miles per hour?
Oh. Well,
the answer is Miata.
The answer is Miatas or Alpine A110s. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Light and slow.
Groms, little miniature motorcycles, Sierra cars. I don't think I've ever gone over 80 in a Sierra car, and it was a goddamn great time.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like in a good way.
Yeah. Now in the desert.
We're talking land speed or wheel speed? Because if it's land speed, then drifting is often below 80 miles per hour.
Yeah, good point. Bush did 997. I regularly see a brand new Cayenne on Montana tags parked on Gramercy Park in New York City. What's the most egregious use of Montana tags you've encountered? I mean, you have to define egregious. Have you cheated the highest number in taxes? Or is it egregious in terms of like getting a Montana tag for your like whatever daily? Is that the most egregious? I think that's probably more egregious. What's more egregious? Because it's a slippery slope. Once you have a sketchy LLC for one car, you might as well just register all your cars. That's probably what that person with the Cayenne is doing.
I think I never thought of this because I've seen plenty of supercars with it, and that makes me mad for the tax reasons. But I think seeing the $200,000 Range Rover daily is probably more egregious because I don't think there's a Range Rover dealership in Montana. Like, you know, it wasn't bought there. Yeah. And granted, this is all based on assumptions, but I'm assuming when I see it going to like Century City to a ad dealership or advertiser or an agency, they live here. They're commuting to work, and they dodge the taxes anyway. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I personally think it's more egregious to commit millions of dollars in tax fraud by having like a dozen Paganis registered in Montana than to have one Cayenne. But still, it actually takes like more work. Like someone had to do more work to evade taxes whereas with the Montana thing, you know, there might just be a guy who does that. Like,
what do you mean?
Like with you have a fleet of supercars, you might as your fucking guy does it. But if you've just got a Range Rover, you've made a whole LLC just to cheat those taxes for this one car instead of just paying the fucking taxes.
Yeah, it's lame on both sides.
Yeah. That's our program today, kids. By the time you hear this, will be driving. I'll be driving. I'll be driving across Northern California. You know why? Because, pull it up real quick, Zach, the Seaside to Sierra event is now up at experiences.roadandtrack.com. This one's going to be great, and I'm driving the route this week to make sure it's great. We're going to start at the Montage Healdsburg, which is a sick hotel. It's ridiculously dope. And then we're going to have a full track day at Sonoma Raceway. We're going to stay at the Lodge at the Presidio in the shadow of the Golden Gate Bridge. We're then going to drive back across wine country through Yountville to Grass Valley, where we're going to have we're going to go to Scott Pruitt, the racing driver's vineyard. He's got a vineyard and a winery, so we're going to drink Scott Pruitt's wine. He's going to be there at Sonoma to give hot laps also. So you'll have one of the fastest shoes in the fucking West, and me also giving hot laps. We'll stay in Grass Valley, and then we are going to drive the very, very pretty way to Lake Tahoe, where we'll have a sunset boat tour of the lake, and we're going to stay at the fucking Ritz-Carlton in Tahoe. It's going to be real nice, Clark. It's going to be an amazing drive. I'm super stoked for this one. The food is going to be awesome. The wine is going to be awesome. And we have 4 great hotels. 3 of the 4 are like exceptionally good. The 4th one I haven't been to yet, so I'll tell you about how it goes next week. I'll be writing a story about it for Road and Track, driving a Lexus LC 500. That'll be real nice as well. Get to say farewell before they get rid of the NAV8 with a little 1,100-mile lap of California.
Sick.
That'll be super fun. So that's what I'm doing for the next 4 days, and then I'll see you guys next week with more podcasting, and we haven't forgotten about you pro drivers. Your Pro Driver Show will be next week as well. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye.